right, so we are live on Facebook and Zoom. This is a test for the first time. The All for One community presenting. This is one of our weekly webinars that we have, because we're all about just providing great content to our community. And tonight we have on Ross Pepper. Hi, Ross.
Hello.
And
how are you?
Good.
And to all our guests out there today.
There's your topic right there on the screen. It's not what you don't know. No, yes, it's not what you don't know. It's what you do know that's holding back your results. I can't read it, so something like that.
It's limiting your results, yes.
Limiting
absolutely.
your results, yes. And Luke said that we needed, the word shocking in there or something like that, because he thinks that's a great title for everything. So shocking news. It's not what you don't know, it's what you do know. So we'll flick it over to you.
News.
Yes, shocking news. So fill us in, Ross. What's it all about?
Fantastic. Well, I'm really excited that we're able to go live on Facebook and LinkedIn, and technology today is amazing.
Hope so.
So welcome to everybody who's watching this. I'm really excited that you're able to take a few minutes out of your day and invest them in discovering what it is that we're talking about here today. We're really only going to be talking about two things. I've been coaching for over 10 years now. I've been business coaching for almost 10 years, but all the different coaching I've been doing is over 10 years now I've been coaching for. And during that time, I've discovered an amazing number of things. But what a lot of it has boiled down to is our results are produced mostly by two things. And so those two things I want to share with you today, because they're things that we already know and do that produce our results. So anything that's limiting our results is the stuff that we're already doing. Anything that's kind of allowing our results to grow is the stuff that we're already doing. So we're getting our results based on what we already do and what we already know. So just to be clear about what these two things are that produce your results. First of all is the belief. And I probably should have made sure I can spell belief. Belief and our patterns. Our beliefs and our patterns, they're the two things that will determine our results. Our beliefs and our patterns. When I'm talking about patterns, I'm talking about our behavioral patterns. Throughout life, we make decisions, and those decisions become our beliefs, and they shape our thinking, and they shape the results that we produce as an outcome of that. So if we believe that somebody doesn't like us, we're not going to be friendly towards them. And that's going to fuel that lack of belief, that lack of someone liking us. Our behavioral patterns produce our results as well. So the way we brush our teeth, if we brush it the same every time, we're going to get the same result every time. So if there's one little tooth that gets missed out every time you brush your teeth, then that one tooth is never going to be clean. As we go through life, our mind is designed to put everything it can into a behavioral pattern, a subconscious program that we run automatically. And when we were children, like little babies, and we were learning to crawl, and then learning to walk, and then jog, and then run, and jump, and all these things, to start with, they were very conscious. We had to think about these things a lot. So we were making decisions about them, we were creating beliefs. We either believed we were fast, we believed we were slow. Whatever the beliefs we had, we'd kind of follow up on those and continue to build them. However, when it comes to our patterns, everything we do, we're trying to push it into our subconscious, so we don't need to think about it anymore. So you stand, you sit, you walk, you run, you jump, and you do all of these things automatically now. Whereas once upon a time, they required a lot of concentration to make them work. And that first step, that first hand movement, the first crawl, the first is getting up, standing up, all of these things were very conscious when we first started doing them. Now we don't think about them at all because they're in our subconscious. And as a result, almost our entire life is run on autopilot. There's a wonderful book, The Power of Now, which is all about being conscious and living in the everyday moment, because we go through life just running on autopilot. Everything we do, you know, our alarm goes off. Are you the type of person that gets up the moment your alarm goes off, you jump out of bed and you go, yes, another day? Or you're somebody who reaches over and hits that snooze button 10 times before you get out? It's very rare that you'll do it differently to that. That's not saying you can't, but we run on autopilot. So you'll notice that 9 times out of 10, you just run your pattern. And sometimes 99.9% of the time, you'll just be running your pattern. So, you know, 999 times out of 1,000. I think we might have just lost
you there for a minute, Ross.
Okay, did anyone else lose me?
Yeah, lost you for about a minute there. You were saying, I'm not saying you can't, something like that. Okay, and then we lost you.
Right. Okay, so it sounds like it was quite a bit.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I don't know where to wind back for. Hopefully we're back far enough.
Yeah.
I did not lose him. No, I did not lose.
Oh, you didn't lose him?
No.
I didn't lose Ross either. He was there the whole time.
Sorry, it must have just been me. My lamp turned on behind me and maybe it killed my internet.
EMP. Okay,
sorry.
yeah.
Keep going, Ross.
We're on.
Awesome. Excellent. I love that. So, so what we're producing right now, the results you're producing in your life right now are as a result of the beliefs that you have. Therefore, you make choices based on those beliefs and the behavioral patterns you're running. And sometimes it's both of those. You know, quite often the belief will back up a behavioral pattern will back up the belief. So we're running our life via these patterns that we run. And it's on autopilot, producing the same results day in and day out. So if you notice that your results are not changing, it's because your patterns haven't changed. Your beliefs haven't changed. So it's not what you don't know, it's what you do know. So you have a belief, and the belief limits your results. So that's one of the biggest things when I'm coaching, is to break through somebody's current beliefs. They call it a boundary condition. I've got 2 little boys at the moment, and one of them, or actually both of them, but especially one of them, loves to say as a result, like as an answer, I don't know. You ask him a question, he says, I don't know. I go, oh, that's okay. Well, what do you think? And his response still likes to say, I don't know. So we're banning I don't know as a response, because the moment you say, I don't know, it turns the brain off.
I've banned the word,
okay,
I can't.
Yeah, sure. So the moment you say that, I can't, I don't know, not possible, whatever it is, your subconscious mind goes, oh, well, I'm not needed. And your subconscious mind is the one that basically solves all your problems. It's really powerful. You know, sometimes have you ever woken up in the middle of the night and gone, oh, that's the answer? Anyone done that before?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Just did it the other night.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. So that's your subconscious at work. You know, it's you've asked it a question, and it now goes to work trying to find the solution or the answer to that. When we say things like, I don't know, we turn our brain off. So never say, I don't know, say, that's a really great question, or let me think about that. Something that's going to encourage you to look for a solution. So I've been working with him to help him give up, I don't know, as a response, and just have a go at it. And it's okay to make a mistake. You know, we don't have to be right about everything, but we're not going to grow and improve if we don't. So that's one of his behavioral patterns, was to simply say, I don't know, which says, you know, I don't need to be involved in this. It's, you know, I'm too little to be able to solve this. No, of course you can solve this. Doesn't matter how old you are, your ability to switch on when you don't know a solution is what's going to serve you. So when I'm coaching someone and we hit one of these boundary conditions where they don't know, okay, so we ask questions, we get to a point where they don't have an answer anymore. That's a boundary condition. It's because they haven't thought past that. Their patterns of behavior have stopped at that boundary. So now we want to break through that. We want to create new levels of thinking that are outside the existing patterns. A few more examples of patterns, which also link with beliefs. When we're around our friends, we have a habit of agreeing with what they say most of the time, unless you've got a group of friends that specifically disagree. But traditionally, we have friends that have very similar beliefs and therefore create similar results. and we will typically agree with a lot of the things that they say. And that's part of the producing the same results. And there are some people that almost always agree with pretty much everything you say, even if it's completely ridiculous, they'll back you because they're a friend and they're just running a pattern. So has anyone got any questions at this point?
Yeah, I've got a couple. So in a team environment, and this is, well, it's not off path, but just in a team environment, and I know you and myself, Ross, have done some work around this as well, with staff and team. People that sometimes can find ways that things go wrong. So no matter what you're coming up with, you know, it might be a great idea. The people, you know, will naturally go to how it can't work or how it can't be done. And I suppose there's a bit of a differentiator there. I suppose it'd be nice for you to explain a little bit about that sort of personality, even though they're not switching off their thinking, so to speak. It's just what they do and how they problem solve. It's a pretty unique way for someone on your team that doesn't always agree with you, but is on board, but can sort of find how things can't be done, and they sort of reverse engineer things, you know.
Sure. So what we're talking about is a mismatcher. So the pattern that they're running there is called a mismatcher. Most people are either matchers or mismatchers. They'll either agree or they'll disagree. So most people will be one or the other. To be conducive as a society, you'll find that most people will kind of agree, and even if they disagree, they typically won't voice it. Okay, so most people will go along. So you'll find people that are matchers. And it's a great way to build rapport with someone. So to get a liking between two people is to agree with them. And in sales, they say, agree with whatever the person says. Even if you completely disagree with it, the first thing to do when somebody says something is to agree with them. And so if they go, you're going to give this to me for free. Yes, that's an excellent idea. I would love to give you this to you for free. And then you move on from there. Yeah. And you can take the conversation somewhere else, but always agree with them first, because that agreement creates rapport. So when we've got a mismatcher that's not creating the agreement, they're creating disagreement. That can be challenging for a lot of people, and especially for a lot of teams when they're trying to get agreement, and you've got someone whose natural tendency or pattern is to be a mismatcher and therefore looking for disagreement. But it's not disagreement they're actually looking for. What their pattern is that they're running is they're looking for where it doesn't work. So let me give you an example. So if you go, look, we've got all circles here. We've got a round drill, and we're going to drill all of these holes. They'll be looking for the square. And you go, look, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There we go, and we'll drill them all. They'll go, no, there's a square over here. So they're looking for where it doesn't match. Whereas everybody else goes, yeah, look at all these circles. That's a really good idea. Let's drill them. They're looking for where it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So the mismatcher pattern can be challenging for teams, but it's also very powerful at the same time. So recognizing that that's a pattern that they run, and that's all it is, how do you utilize that pattern? How do you make the most of it? How do you go, well, that's a pattern that someone runs. Is it a useful pattern or is it not a useful pattern? And the better question is, where can it be a useful pattern? Because if we go, all right, here's somebody that's going to find where what we're saying doesn't work. So they're good for troubleshooting sometimes, because they'll help you find the right answer. You might find an answer that works 9 out of 10 times. They'll tell you that the 10th time where it doesn't work. And then you might just have to go, excellent, love it, great thinking. Is this one of those 10 times? No, fantastic. We'll go with our existing solution.
Yeah.
And then ask them, well, how are we going to spot this 1 in a 10 time?
Yeah, I think it's invaluable on a team. Like we've got a mismatcher. We actually had 2 sort of strong mismatches in the team. And as you said, if it works well, it's really invaluable to get not only someone else's opinion, but also, a considered view of how they see things, because they can really sort of spot things that some of us don't. But it's also moving forward from that, having, being able to agree to disagree, if it doesn't, come up to a sort of an amicable solution or a way to move forward. So I think that's a good tool to have in place too, to know that we can move on without any sort of harbouring any ill feeling and move forward from there.
Your communication skills can become really important. Yeah.
I think you're on mute, Ross.
Yeah.
Being the presenter, it's probably not good.
Yeah, no, we've got your sound again.
Awesome. Sorry, my phone rang. So,
Oh,
all right. So, so communication skills are important at that point, because there is nothing wrong. Okay, there's nothing wrong with any of our beliefs, nothing wrong with our patterns. They are producing our results. They're either working for us or they're not. Is what's happening right now working, or is what's happening right now not working? And from there, it's really just communication skills that become really important. And we can help build patterns and beliefs around those as well. Did you have another question? Oh, sorry. First of all, did that answer the question that you had?
Yeah, I just thought it was relevant to go in and speak about, in that team environment, about the mismatcher, because I think they can be misconstrued sometimes as someone who's not able to problem solve. So I think it's, seeing the value if you meet somebody like that they can be, an invaluable part of the team. And as you were saying, Ross, that communication from there on is, well, that's what I say. Communication is 80% of successes in life. You know what I mean? All of that will come from communication. So, yes, it did answer my question.
Awesome. Yeah, communication's the most critical skill, and they don't even really touch on it at school. They teach you words, they teach you spelling, they teach you, things like that. But they don't say, hey, today we're having a lesson about how to communicate with another human being face to face. And as a result, everybody leaves school. They get into relationships, and the relationships are often challenged because they haven't learned how to communicate properly.
yeah, well, that's more of an issue than ever these days, isn't it? You just, I remember when I was selling my baby cot, and, I sold it to a younger than millennial, I guess. And we were having this fantastic conversation over text before I sold it. And then she turned up, and in real life, or IRL, as she would have said, she couldn't even talk to me face to face. It was like a completely different person. Wow. Because so many people don't know how to talk to people face to face. Yeah. There's a lot of things missing inside of that. Communication, and part of communication. But one of the just a little tip that I'll recommend here. If you want to improve your communication with someone, just care about them more as a human being, and get into their world. Like, stop communicating from your world, get into their world, but really actually care about them as a human being, and you'll find that your results from the communication will skyrocket. All right. So, other questions? Well, tell us what we don't know about what we don't know.
Sure.
I've heard this question before.
Yeah. Recently?
Sorry. Yeah. And it was quite a funny, it was quite funny. And I said, well, I don't know what I don't know. And they said, well, what don't you know? And I said, well, I don't know. And the room went very quiet.
And they said, that's right?
No, they were trying to go somewhere else. And I said, well, if I don't know what I don't know, I don't know.
Yeah.
Enlighten me, Ross.
Cool. So let's talk about the beliefs, and then we'll talk. I think you're pretty clear on patterns. We might go into more detail if we need, but the beliefs. So much of our world is shaped by what we believe. The example I gave before is, if you believe that someone doesn't like you, you're not going to behave in a way that is going to make them necessarily like you. You might avoid talking to them. You might be short with them. You might just want to get away. You're not going to walk up and go, hey, it's so great to see you. Yeah. That's not going to be the way the conversation starts. So this belief that we've created, which is this person doesn't like me, we then behave. We have patterns of behavior that back up the belief. But it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because while we believe that person doesn't like us, we're not going to behave in a way as if they do. So it makes it hard for them to like us. So maybe we invented this belief when we first met them. Maybe it was true. Maybe it's not true. Not going to have that conversation right now because it's not really relevant. But the belief is what's shaping our results now. Maybe you did get off on the wrong foot. Maybe that person didn't like you when you first met. But maybe they've changed. But you never give it a chance. So you're behaving from a belief, which is creating the result. If you want to change your result, change the belief. Now, without getting into too deep a conversation here, because it's an entirely different webinar, what we believe is completely made up. And just go with me for the moment. I know that what I'm saying is kind of radical, but if what we believe is completely made up. Everything that we believe is completely made up. It doesn't mean it's not real. It doesn't mean it is real either, though. Okay, so inside of this
shocking
world,
truth tonight. The shocking truth.
It's
it is a shocking truth.
7 outrageous, shocking truths about, just about reality. Al's got stuff to say about this too. He's big on this, but I haven't heard much from him. So,
Well, I just wanted to say that as one of Ross's friends, I don't agree with him.
Awesome.
And now
that's what I was looking for. He's the mismatcher. Yeah.
He's back on mute now, so you can
Oh, I
go
like
in,
that.
Ross. Go in on that.
I don't agree
Go
with
for
him.
it.
Mute.
Now that was that's right. That was very bitchy. But actually, what I was sitting here thinking was that I'm enjoying not only the conversation but the way you guys are having it. There's a really good energy. So why would I intervene in that uninvited?
You're not uninvited, Alistair.
No, I know.
I invited you because I know. You've got value to add to that, to this
and
topic
by the
as well.
way, I know where you had that conversation about the unknown unknowns too, and I have to.
Yeah.
You and I have to lock up on that.
Yeah, well, you're going to pull me up on it.
No,
that's all right. It was cool. Like it was.
We just got to catch up because obviously I invited you to something and I've never followed up. So that's all.
No, it's all good, and like you can see where things go. It was all just was what it was. Yeah.
But I will not take away from Ross's presentation anymore. Actually, by the way, I've never heard of the mismatch before, so I do appreciate that little gem of new information for me. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. It's one of the many patterns that we run as human beings. I do a profiling test with typically within teams, and I'll take all the individuals within the team and do a profile, and that's one of the things that we profile to see whether they're matches or mismatches. All right, now there's been a bit of conversation about a little bit of ongoing conversation about that, what we don't know. So for our audience, so that this makes sense, I feel like I need to do something with it now. So this is what we know. Like all the information in the universe, this is what we know. Okay, that's the stuff that we know, and that's a much bigger chunk than reality. Okay, what we know out of what there is to know is, just not even a drop in the ocean. There's what we know that we don't know. Okay, the stuff we know that we don't know it. So I know that I don't know how to fly a plane or a spaceship or a helicopter. Okay, and there are things that I know that I don't know. And there's stuff that we simply don't know. And that's most of everything. And that's where a lot of conversation happens when we start exploring new thoughts, is where we don't know. So is that enough context for the audience, do we think?
Yeah, that's a good little pie chart there.
Cool. All right. Well, I can leave it up. So, all right. So what we're talking about here. So beliefs. Now, our beliefs being completely made up. And if you're not sure about this, you should just check with somebody else. Have you ever disagreed with somebody else about something?
Mm-hmm.
And if you have disagreed, then you have different beliefs. Now, have you ever disagreed with somebody and discovered that your belief wasn't accurate? And theirs was. And if you ever disagreed with someone, found their belief wasn't accurate and yours was.
But how can a belief be accurate if it's a belief?
So for the context of making this an easy conversation, I used accurate as in you find out later that you believe it is true.
Right. Okay.
And, yeah, and you maybe have agreement later and go, oh yes, it's still that.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Cool, excellent. Yeah, just for the simplicity of the conversation. But what I've discovered about our beliefs is that they're completely made up. Now, as a coach, this is great. And as an individual, it's great as well. But as a coach, this knowledge really helps me to tap into things that will help other people. Because we behave in accordance with what we believe, okay? What we believe determines how we act. Like if we believe it's impossible to punch through a piece of wood, then we're not going to punch through a piece of wood. If we believe it's possible to punch through a piece of wood, and assuming you thought there was a reason, then you'd punch through that piece of wood. You'd keep going till you punch through it. Now, it doesn't mean that it's possible to punch through the piece of wood or impossible to punch through the piece of wood, but your belief will create your results. And this is where it gets really interesting, because now people go, well, I have all these beliefs and without saying the words, I'm completely attached to them. The belief is that they're there in the subconscious level, that these are our identity. What we believe determines who we are. So when I confront somebody's beliefs, I'm actually confronting something very deep inside them. So when I say that if someone's beliefs are completely made up, I'm challenging somebody on a very deep level. Now, the challenging someone on a deep level is not the intention. Understanding that our beliefs are made up is where we start to gain power over our results. And let me give you an example. The first business coaching client I ever took on, I've been doing life coaching for several years. I took on my first business coaching client. We took his business from 35,000 to 1.5 million in 4 months. And that was by changing his beliefs. There wasn't a lot of patterns that I necessarily needed to work with, a lot of knowledge that I needed to insert. We did some, but most of the work was done on his beliefs. He had beliefs such as it was possible to grow a business too quickly. If you believe it's possible to grow a business too quickly, you're going to limit the amount of growth. And he had all the beliefs and all the evidence to back up that belief. We shifted that belief, created a new one, and immediately his business skyrocketed. So simply by changing our beliefs, we change our results. So there'll be beliefs that you have that are limiting your results right now. Okay, it's things that you know. Yeah, you go, well, I know this, and you share with me your belief. That belief is creating your results. If that belief is limiting your results, we need to change that belief to change your results. So hanging on to our beliefs as if they're real is a dangerous thing if you want to change your results. If you're happy with your results, hang on to them. If you want to change your results, letting go of your beliefs is sometimes the first thing to do, because your beliefs will shape your life, always. Any questions about beliefs?
No, not so far.
I don't know what to believe, Ross. Anymore. I just don't know what to believe. So.
Well, any belief you have that's getting you really good results, believe that. Any belief you have that's not getting you great results, just make something else up. Test it out.
My kids always go through this thing at school, and they have to go through a set of statements, and they say whether it's a fact or a belief, and they have to say which one it is, and it makes you think about things when you read these statements that are designed for grade 1s or grade 2s or whatever it is.
Yeah, so a fact is really just a communal belief.
Mm.
Exactly.
And as accurate as that belief is to the fact, as accurate as it may be, it's still a belief. Now, in a school situation where you're asked to determine what's a fact and what's a belief, I think that's really great to create some clarity around the way we think. I think that's really awesome. But at the end of the day,
yeah,
even a fact is still just a belief that has communal agreement.
Yeah. So like, you know, cats are cute, belief, versus cats have 4 legs, fact, you know. That's how simple it is.
we're missing one key ingredient. How do we feel about kittens and cats? Yeah.
Well, don't F
They
with
go
them.
great into Dim Sims.
If you've watched that show on Netflix, don't F with cats.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, yeah. That's sort of next. No, I was just thinking like, you know, a few cute YouTube videos, you know, of kittens just falling off, you know, low things, not hurting themselves, just cute stuff.
Yep, that's your belief, your opinion.
But I believe it makes me feel good.
Well,
Makes me feel
there's
happy.
another question, Ross. Is there a difference between opinions and beliefs?
What do they say? Opinions are like something. Everyone's got one. Yeah.
Yeah. So an opinion is somebody's belief.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but I have an opinion about that. Yeah, what's your belief? It's just, yeah, it's really just the same thing. It's one
Same thing.
person's.
Yeah.
So it's an opinion is somebody voicing a belief, really.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So there are beliefs. Now, the best way to change a belief is actually with a coach. I don't know a better way to change a belief because a coach can see a flip side of things because we're stuck inside our beliefs. It's really hard to challenge a belief when you're inside it. The best thing you can do is be free to let go of your beliefs and talk with someone that actually disagrees with your belief. If you're looking for a particular result and you know somebody who's getting that result, let go of everything that you believe and go talk to that person about that result. And let them share with you what their beliefs are and how they created it.
Yeah, I think that's
And then just do
important.
what they said.
Yeah.
So
I always
whatever it
ask. Yeah. And I think that's having that open mind, but always asking, you know, is there something I'm not seeing? You know what I mean? In any sort of situation. Yeah, I think that's important. That's a phrase I live by.
I'd love to make a comment now because this is a really important point. It's something that I've really moved on. So I actually totally agree with what you said, Ross. And at the same time, what I have found is that my way works for me, and it works for some other people that I don't know have enough in common with me for it to work for them. Doesn't work for everybody though, and so
there's a belief there that doesn't work for everybody. Hope you all heard that. Sorry, keep going.
And so okay. So my point is this: some people will listen to what you said and say, yeah, no, I've tried that, it didn't work. So all I'm saying is, belief or otherwise, it's not about, I've got to find the guru and then it will work. It's, I've got to find my way. And sometimes that involves talking with more than one person, following more than one mentor, you know, researching more than one success. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So, let me share with you that. I'll say it back in another way to make sure that we do have alignment in what you're saying.
Okay.
So basically, what you're saying is that different people can produce similar results done a different way.
Exactly.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you. So yes. When somebody's trying to produce a result.
Sorry, Ross. Sorry. Exactly. And sometimes they won't do it. They just won't do it the same way. Now, I'm not saying can't, because totally it's a belief.
Yes.
However, won't.
Yes.
It's just,
cool.
I don't want to come at it that way. You know, I don't want to work 6 days a week, 12 hours a day to do what that guy did. I want to do it 4 days a week, 8 hours a day. As a trite example.
Yes. Now, yeah. So with what you've shared there, I'm going to use that example as well.
Right.
So the example that you had there was somebody working really long hours to be, let's say, create success in business, and somebody else is like, well, I don't want to work extreme hours to be able to be successful in business. I want to do it by working 20, 30, like 10 hours a week. I want to create this, the massive success in my business, and I'm going to figure out how to do it that way. I've tried your many, many hours, and all I got was exhausted and tired and worn out. Now, the result that they produce is a result of their beliefs about your way of doing it. So if somebody goes, well, it's not possible to work 80-hour weeks and be happy and successful, that belief will determine their results even when they try it. So here's evidence. Here's person A working 80 hours a week, creating an amazing success. Here's person B trying to work 80 hours a week and just getting resentful, tired, worn out, and all these other things. That's a result of their beliefs about that way of doing it. And you'll see that that's generally what will create our energy. So somebody, for example, might, let's use something really mundane. I love to use the washing the dishes as the example. Someone will wash the dishes and they may look like they're having a heap of fun doing it. Someone else may wash the dishes and look like it's the worst thing that's ever happened to them. Now, the activity is identical. Okay, it's simply washing the dishes. There's not much to it. You're just washing the dishes. The activity is the same, but the experience for those two people is completely different.
I love that example because I'm the freak that finds dishwashing the place where I find Zen.
Come to my place
we go.
anytime.
Well, but that's it, Jerry. If I'm at your house at the party, I'll go around the table and start collecting dishes and go into the kitchen and start washing them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect example. Yeah.
Yep. It
Excellent.
is.
It's a great example. There's not many people. Yeah, there's not many people that do love it. I know that there's certainly people that do love it. So I'm really glad that we've got someone that loves it and someone hates it on this call. So, and that's just based around our beliefs and our patterns. That's all that's creating that result. The experience that you get from that is a result of your beliefs and your patterns, nothing else. So when you wash the dishes, you do it a certain way every time. So your belief created the pattern, which is now the way that you will do the dishes. You'll either do it, I hate doing the dishes, or you'll be like, whatever your experience now is now just a pattern that you run. And the dishes are still just washing the dishes. But once upon a time was a belief you had that created the way you did the dishes. And now you just have a pattern that kicks off every time you do the dishes. So yes, you can change your beliefs and your patterns around how you do the dishes and have a completely different experience. If you don't enjoy the dishes, ask yourself the question, how could I make doing the dishes a fun experience? And don't give up until you solve how to make doing the dishes a fun experience. And then dishes will always be fun from you from then on.
Or you can just sub it out, mate. Delegate it, yeah? Buy a dishwasher.
That could be the fun way to do it.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some high-level things you can be changing about our beliefs.
Somebody else does it for me, and I don't need to. That's fun.
Yeah,
cool.
I believe I've given
there you
the
go.
red hot
There's your solution. The dishes are getting done, and you're happy about it.
Yeah, but my belief is that I never liked doing them in the first place, and for me to push through, it would be best sooner
so it'll
delegated.
always be the same for you. So as long as you hang on to that belief, it'll always be the same for you. Oh, I think we lost audio then.
Oh.
Yeah, we've lost your audio.
I'll unmute him. Yeah.
Oh, that's all right. I said, yeah, and I'm okay with that as long as it's delegated out. I suppose belief and patterns around, how we are as parents and, how we behave and, being role models around kids. Those have sort of a ripple effect. Especially that's something that should be considered by, everyone. And if it's something that we can look into ourselves and see if it, has an effect or it's positive, negative, etc. I think just looking at it and talking about it the way we have is paramount. Communication again sort of comes to the forefront.
Yeah. One thing that I just wanted to address for our audience though, who are on this call as well as who may not be on this call, just witnessing then your rigidity around the pattern that washing dishes is horror and you have to sub it out. So notice there was no belief change there, or no I guess eagerness to let that go, because washing the dishes could be the biggest joy in your life if you wanted to change your beliefs around it. You'd have to let go of the ones that you have right now though to make any progress. So I just wanted to highlight the rigidity for that. I'm not fast. I sub out the go ahead and sub out your dishes. But just the rigidity around that is an example of how we hang on to beliefs really tightly. So it doesn't matter what your belief is. It could be when we cross the road, we should always run. Like, you know, a lot of things tell us that's a really bad idea. But if that's your belief, it's always going to create a particular type of result. And if you trip one day and get run over, then, you know, it's going to produce that as the result. But it doesn't matter what your belief is. Your belief could be, you know, we should only ever cross the roads at designated crossings. Okay. And that will produce a different result. And it doesn't matter which of those beliefs you have, they will produce a type of result, and it doesn't make either of them right, doesn't make either of them wrong. That is completely made up, and they will produce a result for you. But we hang on to our beliefs. If someone challenges a belief, we get our back up, we fire up, and we'll protect that belief. Okay, and that's just how we are as humans. So being able to let go of a belief that's producing a result that's not good can be a really tough thing to do.
Yeah, mate, hang on to it is an understatement. I mean, people go to war for their beliefs. And as you touched on and didn't necessarily focus on, those beliefs are made up based on personal life experience. And so we will as a species, go to war, we will kill, we will do all sorts of things to protect our beliefs.
Yeah, until life kicks you in the ass and says, what you've been believing is not really, well, it's not about results, but, if you run across the road a certain way and you get hit by a car or something, what I believe, and my point is some people can't change their beliefs, Ross. I've seen it firsthand as well. Yeah, that's a belief. No, well,
everyone can change them. Everyone can change them. That's my belief.
I'll be specific.
However, it's very difficult for people too, because a belief is inherently, whatever it is about it, it's really important to us. It's part of our identity.
Yeah.
Like the beliefs that we have create our identity. So whether you love all people or whether you hate all people, you will fight for whatever that belief is. So any belief that you've got, you'll fight for, which is why we have arguments. Politics isn't about making the world a better place. It's about fighting for your beliefs. So they argue about ridiculous things.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think people can change, can change their beliefs. And sometimes it might be a simple fact that even when they're challenged, that then it doesn't change their belief, but however down the track, what they're doing and what they believe no longer makes sense, and that's where that sort of true insight to go, well, hang on a second, is this working for me? Is it producing results? Sort of falls in. So, yeah, I agree. And, as I said, we've seen it firsthand in team environments as well, where people have been challenged. But, I do hope down the track where they have not, they've really just sort of pushed back and nothing has changed for them, that down the track that it would, at one point it would sort of drop in and go, hey, yeah, look, it's not my first rodeo. These are the results it's producing. So.
Yeah. So, and I also want to talk about that word results, because you used it a couple of times there and use some examples with it too, which were really great. So I want to clarify for everyone that results is anything that's happening in our life. So a result could be the communication you're having with one other person. It could be a significant partner, it could be someone at work, it could be your neighbor, it doesn't matter. When the two of you communicate, you produce a result. Your beliefs and your patterns will be producing that result. So if you talk to that person and it's a great conversation, your beliefs and your patterns are creating that. If you talk to that person and it's a horrid conversation, your beliefs and your patterns are creating that. So you as an individual, as a human being, has the ability to completely change that result. So anything that's happening in your life, call it a result, and it's a result of your beliefs and your patterns. And you can go, no. In fact, I'd love someone to go, no, here's a situation in my life where it's not. It's got nothing to do with my beliefs and my patterns. That person really is a beep, or, whatever the situation is, whatever belief it is that is confronted by this. Or you said, hey, I've got this thing and I don't think it's a belief or a pattern, and we can see which one it falls into.
Mm.
Yeah, cool. So what would you say to someone if you are having those conversations and they're, as you said, they're not going swimmingly well? How would you approach it to change, probably to lessen that wall that goes up, to improve those conversations in a simple form, you know what I mean? To really sort of help someone who's potentially having those conversations every day with co-workers, team members, staff, anybody.
Here's a great one that works pretty much anywhere, anytime, with everything. If it's to be, it's up to me.
Yep.
Yeah, I love that one.
If it's to be, it's up to me. And that'll serve you pretty much anywhere and everywhere, because it's about taking responsibility. Now, that's, once again, we can do an entire, entire show just on that. There's so much to learn about the responsibility question. If it's up to me, if it's to be, it's up to me. There's so much in that. But if you create the belief that if you want a different result, it's up to you, only you, to change that result, and you hang tight to that belief and you fight for the result, and you constantly believe, if it's to be, it's up to me. What am I going to do about it? How am I going to change how I'm showing up to produce different results? And that'll solve pretty much anything. Hey, I just had a conversation with that person. It didn't work out. I'm not okay with that. I'm going to go back to them and tell them that I want this conversation to work really well. I want you and me to have an amazing relationship. I want us to be the best of buddies. I know that we're not that. Okay. But that's what I'm up for. Okay. That is what I want to create with you and me. And I'm not going away until I've managed to sort that out. So you can work with me, or you can just sit there while I go hammer and tongs on figuring this out. Any other questions, comments, or thoughts that you want to share before we close this off?
Thank you, Ross. That's been a really great topic tonight. It just really makes you think, just like the statement, you don't know what you don't know. It really makes you think about, what is it that I know that could be holding me back? What is it that I don't know? And, it's just one of those thinking type of questions. So thank you for making us think tonight. And we've had to think really hard. That's all I can say. So yeah, thank you. And just for another great week here on the All for One community. I hope that it still says it's live on Facebook. So hopefully this has worked in the group.
Incredible.
And it will save us reposting things up later on. So if you have been watching on Facebook, none of us have been monitoring it, so I don't know if anyone has, but if you've got any questions to Ross, just pop them in the Facebook group, and he'll be happy to answer them.
Absolutely. If there's any more that you want to talk about or discuss that's relevant to this, then please do. So follow up underneath this, and please engage with us. Yeah, happy to help and continue the conversation.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for listening as well, everyone.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks again, Ross. And
Thanks, Ross.
Have a great week, everyone. And we will see you on our call next Monday night. Have a great week.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.